Drop whatever you are holding right now. I could not wait another hour to tell you this. What I am releasing to you tonight cannot be delayed any longer. Do not walk away. If you leave now, you will spend the rest of this year asking me for the exact thing sitting in front of you. You will walk right past your own answer. Do not let that happen. I saw what happened this morning. You woke up tired before your feet even touched the floor. You looked at the door and wondered how you were going to push through another day, my faithful one. I have been watching you carry a sky that is too heavy for one person. You have been doing it completely alone, and you are so incredibly tired. I am telling you what is moving toward you, and I am telling you tonight. I have watched this exact thing happen more times than you have years. I am reaching into your situation right now. Before this message ends, you will understand exactly why your room went silent. You will feel the heavy thing come off your chest, and you will know exactly how to walk through the open door. Type Amen if you are ready to put down what your body has been carrying. Let me know you are still here and listening to my voice. I read what my children write. Let me describe the morning you just had. You slept the whole night through, but you rose with your jaw already tight. You stood at the kitchen counter and stared at the empty wall. You could not remember reaching for your cup. The tightness behind your ribs is always there. You carry it into every single room you enter. You have told yourself you are just getting older, and you believe something inside you is quietly giving out. That is not the truth. You are not weak, and you were never weak. You are carrying a burden I did not give you. Exhaustion does not come from the weight you were given. It comes from the weight you were never given. You carry another person's mood the way someone carries water in their bare arms. You spill it the whole way, and you never arrive. I am going to name this so you can never unsee it. This is the borrowed load. It has your fingerprints all over it, but it was never yours to carry. You can set it down tonight. You do not need a grand speech or a perfect plan to let it go. You just have to stop gripping it. Every minute you have stayed here has been adding to what I am rebuilding in you. None of it is wasted. You have been standing at another door for a very long time. You have prayed the same prayer so many times that the words feel completely empty in your mouth. You still say them at night, but you took your weight off them somewhere along the way. You send them up like a person greeting a neighbor they expect nothing from. You feel so defeated. I know how much that waiting hurts. I know the exact moment you catch yourself and think that I have heard this too many times. You look around and see other people receiving their answers. You watch them celebrate. You smile for them. And then you go back to your quiet room and wonder if your file was lost. You wonder if you did something wrong. Do not move away from me now. What I am doing inside you right now is only half finished. If you walk out in the middle of it, you will carry that heavy half forever. Stay here with me. You have been faithful in the long, dry season. You kept showing up on the mornings when nobody was watching and nothing was working. You kept serving the people around you while your own heart was breaking. That kind of obedience makes a very loud sound in heaven. I heard every single step you took in the dark. I saw every tear you wiped away before anyone else could notice. You are the one who kept going when everything inside you wanted to quit. I honor your endurance. But you have drawn a dangerous conclusion from my silence. You concluded that I said no. You decided that the waiting meant you were denied, and you truly think the lack of an answer is your punishment. I am going to turn that belief over right now. I am going to show you what was actually happening while you thought I was ignoring you. I was working on the vessel, not the water, and you are finally ready to see it. Just keep listening to my voice. The noise of the world wants to pull you away from this exact moment. Do not let it win tonight. I am speaking directly to your spirit now. The breakthrough you have been begging for is already in motion. Breathe deeply and stay. You have spent years apologizing for things that were not your fault. You have made yourself smaller to fit into rooms that did not know how to hold you. I saw you do it. I saw the quiet heartbreak in your eyes when you realized you were doing all the giving. Tonight is the night that cycle ends. You are stepping into a season of receiving. I know the exact thought moving through you right now. You are thinking about the years you spent asking, and you wonder if you were just talking to yourself. You asked in every way you were taught. You asked in ways nobody ever taught you, and the room just stayed completely quiet. You look at the empty space and assume I simply walked away, leaving you to figure out the rest of your life alone. I am not going to tell you the room was not quiet. It was incredibly quiet. You did not imagine that crushing silence. You did not deserve it, and no one has the right to explain it away with a quick and careless sentence. You sat in that dark and felt completely invisible. I watched you wipe your eyes and try to be strong again. You have drawn a very specific conclusion from my silence. You concluded that I finally said no. On the hardest nights, you concluded something much worse. You decided that I was not listening at all. You thought your words just floated up into an empty ceiling, and you truly wonder if your faith was just a comforting lie that you told yourself to survive the pain. I want to answer that directly right now. I have heard every single word you prayed. Not one of those lonely nights was unwitnessed, and I will not tell you that you asked wrongly. You did not use the wrong words. There was no better hour or truer posture you could have chosen, and you did absolutely nothing wrong when you brought your desires to me. Anyone who tells you the flaw was in your technique is lying. Your prayer was perfect, but human hearts cannot tell the difference between silence and refusal. So you fill the quiet with the worst word you know. You call it rejection. I want you to hear something very clearly tonight. Silence was never my word for no, and it has never been my way of punishing you for the mistakes you made in the past. You watch other people get the exact thing you begged for. You see them celebrate the answered prayer. You try so hard to be happy for them, but inside, a small piece of your hope breaks off and dies. You ask yourself why they were chosen instead of you. You assume they must be better or more loved than you are, and you let that bitter thought poison your own heart. Do not walk away from me now. If you leave, you will keep believing a lie about your own worth. You are not a secondary character in someone else's story. I forgot. I know you are tired of holding on to promises that seem completely empty, but your willingness to still be here is letting me reach deeper. I can finally touch the places you have kept hidden. You still say your prayers at night, but you took all your weight off them a long time ago. Your words go up like a person greeting a neighbor they expect nothing from. You are protecting yourself from another massive disappointment. You built a small shelter out of expecting very little, and you have mistaken that tiny shelter for deep spiritual wisdom. I know how exhausting it is to live inside that shelter. You pretend you are fine with the way things are. You tell your friends that you have accepted your season, but your heart still aches when the house gets quiet. You cannot fake peace when your spirit is starving. You are starving for a single drop of solid proof, and you just want to know that I am still fighting for you. Here is the piece you have been missing. Between the asking and the arriving, there is heavy work being done, and the work is not on the water. The work is on the vessel. A gift that comes before the hands are ready is not a mercy. It is a terrible loss with a beautiful wrapping, and I love you far too much to do that to you. Every minute you have stayed here tonight is adding to your restoration. The heavy knot in your chest is loosening as you listen. That is not your imagination. That is the truth of my presence in your room. I am preparing the ground beneath your feet right now. The delay was never a cruel punishment. It was a holy covering designed to keep you safe from storms you were not strong enough to survive yet. You thought you were being ignored while you were actually being formed. Look at what you can carry now that you could not carry before. None of that strength came from the easy answers. All of it came from the long silence you thought was cold rejection. The waiting was never empty of me. You just could not see the blueprint, and you assumed the faithful builder had abandoned the house completely to work on something else. Type Amen if you are tired of waiting but still holding on. I want you to make that small declaration right now. You have been fighting the wrong enemy for 3 long years. Put your heavy armor down tonight. You do not need to defend yourself against my perfect timing. The door is already unlocking from the other side, and the brilliant light of your new season is starting to bleed through the cracks. Stay with me through this next part. What I am about to show you is the exact reason the door stayed closed. I am going to name the thing you have been fighting. If you leave before I name it, you will fight it again tomorrow, and you will walk right back into the same exhausting cycle that has drained your joy. Just breathe and let me finish this beautiful work inside you. I have watched this happen 10,000 times in 10,000 houses, and it is always the exact same sequence. First comes the striving, then comes the terrible exhaustion, and only after the exhaustion does the true opening finally appear. You have completed the first 2 stages, my child. You have been standing at the 3rd stage for much longer than you realize, because your tired eyes have forgotten how to recognize an open door. I am telling you what is moving toward you tonight. I am saying this plainly because there is no version of this where I let you fail. I have never once been late to you. Not on the dark night when you counted the hours. Not on the cold morning when you finally gave up counting. And I am absolutely not late right now, even though the heavy calendar on your wall tries to convince you otherwise. Your mind wants to run away from this truth. The noise of the world is loud enough to sound exactly like my absence, but it has never once been my absence. You simply could not hear my footsteps over the sound of your own racing thoughts. Your panic was drowning out my quiet preparation. I want you to stop running and just listen to me. There is a specific prayer you have completely stopped praying. You have never told anyone that you stopped. You still say the familiar words at night. But you took all your heavy weight off those words a long time ago, and they go up from you like a man greeting a stranger he expects absolutely nothing from. You say them out of empty habit. There is a moment right at the end of your prayer when you catch yourself. You think that I have heard this desperate request too many times. You feel embarrassed for asking again. You fold your trembling hands and you just sigh. You go to sleep feeling like a forgotten child in a very crowded room, and I saw you do this very thing just yesterday. You have drawn a terrible conclusion from my silence. You concluded that I finally said no. On your absolute hardest nights, you concluded something even worse than a simple no. You decided that I was not listening at all. You truly believed your tears were completely invisible to me. But I want to answer that terrible fear directly right now. I have heard every single one of them. Not one of those lonely nights was unwitnessed by heaven. I will also not tell you that you asked wrongly. You did not. There was no better hour or truer posture you could have taken. Anyone who tells you the huge flaw was in your technique is telling you a massive lie that you must reject today. Here is the secret thing you have not been told. Silence and refusal are not the exact same thing. The human heart cannot easily tell them apart. So it quickly fills the terrifying silence with the absolute worst word it knows. But listen to what actually happens in a waiting season. Because heavy work is always being done between the asking and the arriving. And that heavy work is not on the water, my child. The work is on the vessel. A beautiful gift arriving before your hands are ready is never a mercy. It is a devastating loss with a gorgeous wrapping, and I have watched premature blessings completely break the fragile people who begged for them. I will not break you like that. Some of what you asked for is being made ready. Some of it is being made better than the tiny thing you originally named. And some of it I love you far too much to hand you in the broken shape you asked for it. I am going to name this waiting season right now. This is the unfinished yes. Now look back over the long years you have called abandoned. You were not being ignored in them. You were being deeply formed in them. Ask yourself honestly what you can carry now, that you could not carry before that painful waiting began. None of your current strength came from the instantly answered prayers. All of it came from the silence. Your capacity to hold blessings was expanding. It grew every single time you chose to stay in the quiet room. You thought that long silence was bitter rejection. The waiting was never empty of my divine presence. You simply could not see me working. I was gently rebuilding your own tired heart. I will not ask you to force yourself back into that desperate prayer tonight. I just ask you to change one single word. Where you have been angrily saying, "Why have you not?" I want you to say, "What are you doing?" Say it once out loud before you go to sleep. Notice how the heavy pressure finally leaves your tired chest when you stop demanding the timeline and start trusting the builder. Then take a blank piece of paper tomorrow. Write down one thing that is different in you since the exact day you began asking. Only one thing. That simple page is your hard evidence. On the cold nights when the silence gets loud again, you will not have to take my word for it. You will have your own undeniable handwriting to prove you were growing. Stay exactly where you are. Every minute you have stayed here has been adding to what I am rebuilding in you. None of this is wasted time. Do not walk away before the final beautiful piece is handed directly to you. Remember the unfinished yes I just named for you. This is the life standing on the exact other side of it. Come with me to a bright morning in the season ahead and notice how your breathing feels when the pressure is finally gone. It is an ordinary weekday. Nothing loud has been announced. You wake up long before your alarm rings. Your tired feet find the floor without any painful argument. You walk across the cold tile to the kitchen window. The coffee cup is warm against your bare palm. And you do not brace for disaster, my child. Your heavy shoulders stay exactly where they belong. The familiar tightening behind your ribs is simply not there anymore. You do not run through a massive list of terrifying worries before the new day has even opened its bright eyes to greet you. Your phone lies face down on the wooden table. You do not feel it pulling at your mind from across the room. The deep silence does not frighten you at all. That is the incredible part you cannot picture from where you are standing today. You are finally inside a perfectly quiet room, and absolutely nothing in your weary spirit is trying to run away from the beautiful, healing stillness. That peaceful morning is not a foolish dream. That faithful version of you already exists. She is not being assembled somewhere far away out of missing parts. She is standing patiently on the exact other side of one tiny, painful thing you are still gripping tightly with both of your exhausted hands. The distance between you and that perfect morning is not time. It is pure permission. Permission is something you say out loud in a quiet room. Say it tonight, and that beautiful morning starts walking toward you. Comment, "I trust the timing," if you believe the delay was protection. Let your own fingers type the words your tired heart desperately needs to hear, because an action taken in faith will always break the power of fear. Your quiet obedience makes a loud sound in my kingdom. Now I must show you exactly what is stopping you from reaching that morning. There is a deep pain you carry when you watch other people receive the exact thing you begged for. You see them smiling. You hear their wonderful news. You tell them you are happy for them, and you actually mean it. But deep inside your chest, a fragile piece of your spirit breaks off and quietly dies while you watch them celebrate. You ask yourself why they were chosen instead of you. Then something even more damaging happens inside your mind. When you finally hear good news about your own life, your stomach immediately drops. You do not celebrate the victory. You instantly brace for the hidden catch. You wait for the other shoe to drop. You do this because sudden good news was always followed by a terrible loss in your difficult past. You have scolded yourself for this miserable feeling. You bring it to me in prayer, and you ask me to forgive your jealousy. You ask me to fix your broken faith. My child, you are not struggling with jealousy. You are not a bitter person. You are one of the most loving souls I have created, and your heart is just trying to protect itself from breaking again. Something else entirely is happening inside your mind. Here is the hidden mechanism you have never truly understood. A human heart cannot survive being shattered over and over again without building a shield. After enough painful disappointments, your mind learns a new trick. It learns to block your joy, to reduce your future pain. Your desperate mind calls this heavy emotional shield being perfectly realistic, but I call it a dark prison that keeps you isolated from my goodness. It is not realism, beloved. It is a heavy splint worn long past its healing season. You block the sudden joy so the inevitable fall will not hurt as much. I am going to name this terrible cycle right now so you can finally break it. This is the guarded hope. It never touches your past. It only steals the bright, wonderful future I am desperately trying to hand you today. Look back at the long years you called your bitter years. You were never bitter. You were deeply guarded. Every single time you stopped yourself from celebrating a victory, you were just a wounded child trying to survive the terrible impact of another massive disappointment. You did not fail to be happy. You were actively protecting a massive wound that nobody ever bothered to tend. I see the heavy armor you wear every single day. I know exactly how much energy it takes to hold that metal shield up, but you do not need it in my house. You are safe here. So, I give you one small assignment for today. When the joyful news arrives, do not push it away. Do not look for the hidden tragedy hiding deep in the shadows, because my gifts do not come with secret, painful traps attached to them. Let the sudden joy sit in your open hands for 10 whole seconds. Do not explain it away, just hold it. That is exactly how you take the heavy armor off. You do it one small second at a time. The guarded hope simply cannot survive being watched in the bright, beautiful light of day, and your glorious morning is coming much faster than you think. Stay exactly where you are. The willingness to still be here is letting me reach deeper than I could the last time you ran. Every minute you remain is another heavy layer coming off your aching shoulders. You will absolutely feel the huge difference in the morning. Do not close this message. I have one more massive spiritual chain to permanently break before you go to sleep tonight, and you must be awake to see it shatter. You have arrived at this exact place before. The work was almost completely finished. The heavy door was finally swinging open, and the right person was almost yours to deeply trust. Then something inside you reached out and knocked the beautiful cup over. You went quiet for an entire week and let the golden opportunity completely die. You picked a very small fight over something that truly did not matter. Afterward, you sat in your car in the pitch dark. You had absolutely no words for a person who aggressively runs away from the very thing they begged for. You believe you are deeply afraid of failing. You have said it so often it feels like the absolute truth. You honestly tell yourself you lack the basic discipline to finish things. Look closely at the hard evidence of your own difficult life. You have survived massive failures before. You survived terrible heartbreak more than once. And each time you bravely got back up and built your life again, you are not afraid of the heavy thing collapsing. You have clearly proven you can live through a terrible collapse. You are actually terrified of what happens when it stands. Let me show you where that hidden fear was really born. In the house where you grew up, someone you loved deeply did not rise. Someone set their beautiful music down and simply never picked it up again. The whole family learned to speak of that deep sadness in a lowered voice. A quiet child watching that learns a terrible law that nobody ever says aloud. The child learns they are not permitted to go higher than the people they deeply love. To actually rise would be to leave them behind. To succeed would somehow quietly accuse them of giving up. So the loving child builds a heavy ceiling out of pure devotion. Then they spend 30 long years calling it crippling fear. I am going to name this right now, so you hear it every single time you stall. This is the loyalty ceiling. It is not cowardice. It is misguided devotion aimed in the completely wrong direction. Look again at the broken ruins you have been so incredibly ashamed of. You did not break those wonderful things out of weakness. You were fiercely protecting somebody. Every time you stopped just short of the finish line, you were speaking an ancient language. You were saying you would not outgrow the broken people who raised you. That is not a massive defect in your character. That is a deeply loyal heart that was never told the liberating truth. And here is the plain truth you must hear tonight. Your staying small has never once made them any larger. That invisible ceiling has cost you absolutely everything, while giving them absolutely nothing in return. Say the name of the person you have been staying small for. Say it quietly only to me tonight. Then boldly say that you release the heavy debt. Your beautiful rising takes absolutely nothing from their room. Your brilliant light does not darken their sky at all. Take one honest step above that invisible ceiling tomorrow morning. Do not climb the whole staircase. Just take one single step. A heavy ceiling that is crossed even once loses all its dark authority. I have watched this happen 10,000 times. Always the exact same sequence. The deep wound creates the heavy wall. Then the long, quiet season follows where the person mistakes the wall for their own skin. I am telling you what is moving toward you right now. I have watched this exact chain break more times than you have years. It never once ends the way the terrified person expected. I am doing this mighty work whether you completely understand it yet or not. I already set the profound healing in permanent motion. You are hearing the final announcement, not a simple request. The long, exhausting season of self-sabotage is officially over. You do not have to fight this invisible enemy anymore. I am standing between you and that terrible outcome right now. I am not moving an inch. Stay exactly where my strong hand can reach you. Let them keep their false opinion of who you really were. Let them keep the broken version of the story where you are the one who failed. You were never asked to carry their bitter account of your life. Every single time you got up anyway, I saw it. Every time you kept a quiet promise no one was checking on, I saw it. Nothing went unwitnessed. Not one lonely hour of it was wasted. The incredible distance between you and your breakthrough is closing rapidly. You opened something massive just by staying here tonight. I am walking through that open door right now. The heavy lifting is already done. You just need to breathe and receive what I have prepared for you. You have prayed the same difficult prayer for so many long years. You look around and see absolutely nothing changing in your life. The heavy wall in front of you looks exactly the same as it did on the very first day. You wonder if your quiet obedience is just a foolish waste of time. Let me tell you a true story about working in the dark. He built a massive ship under a completely cloudless sky. His loud neighbors laughed at him every single day. There was absolutely no rain on the horizon to prove he was right. He only had my quiet word, and he kept working while the whole town mocked his profound obedience. He did not build because he could see the dark storm coming. He built because he heard my voice. People walked by his house and shook their heads. They called him completely crazy behind his back. You know exactly what that terrible judgment feels like. You have felt the sting of their silent whispers when you chose to stay faithful in a dry season. You have felt incredibly foolish for believing in a massive promise that nobody else can see. My child, you are building something right now that nobody else can see. You are building a deep healing. You are building a broken family being repaired one quiet conversation at a time. And you are doing all this incredibly hard work under a sky that gives you no comforting evidence. You look up and see absolutely no rain. Do you know what I call that exact posture? I call it beautiful faith with sawdust on its tired hands. Keep building it. The daily weather does not confirm my powerful word. My word arranges the weather. What you faithfully raise up in the dry season is the exact thing that will carry you when the massive flood finally comes. I am telling you what is moving toward you tonight. The long dry season is permanently ending. Do not leave right now. If you leave, you will walk into the incoming flood without knowing how to safely float. Stay here with me. What I am doing inside you at this exact moment is creating the solid wood you desperately need to survive. Every second you remain here is sealing the deep cracks in your heavy boat. The quiet time you spend here is actively preparing your spirit for the massive shift. Everything I have told you up to this point was pure preparation. This is the amazing thing itself. I want to show you the room that has been waiting on the other side of your long obedience. Come with me further along this road than you can see today. There is a beautiful door waiting for you, and it has your exact name carved right into the wood. You reach out and turn the brass handle. You walk inside, and the very first thing you notice is how perfectly it fits you. Every single detail is designed for your ultimate peace. You do not feel like an imposter in that bright space. You sit down in a comfortable chair and realize you do not have to fight to keep it. The beautiful silence in that room does not feel like a heavy punishment. It feels like a massive warm blanket wrapping around your tired shoulders. The endless striving is finally over. The heavy anxiety that used to wake you up at 3 in the morning is completely gone. You do not constantly scan the horizon for incoming threats anymore. And the most amazing part is that nobody can take this profound peace away from you. That room is not a foolish fantasy. It is completely real, and it belongs to you. It is standing firmly on the other side of your long, painful wait. The incredible distance between you and that beautiful room is not measured in years or decades. It is measured in surrender, and you are finally ready to drop your heavy tools and just walk gracefully inside. Here is the ultimate truth I brought you here to receive. I am not softening this declaration at all. I am ending the long, painful argument today. You call it a bitter delay, my child, but I call it the necessary season where I build what your massive calling will stand on. And what you build with me now will absolutely never collapse later. This is the firm foundation you always begged for. You are not late. You are not less. You are not the tragic exception to my perfect faithfulness. You were never behind anyone else. The delay was powerful preparation. Preparation is what I do to the ones I intend to build a mighty kingdom with. Your long waiting was actually my profound protection. I kept you hidden to keep you entirely safe. Every time you cried entirely alone, I saw it. Every time you kept a quiet promise no one checked on, I saw it. Every time you chose to trust me in the absolute dark, I saw it. I saw every single tear. Not one was wasted. You are still here, and you are stronger than you have ever been in your entire life. Lift your heavy head right now. Stop looking at the dry ground. Open your hands. Look up. Say it aloud with me. I am not late. I am exactly where I need to be. Let me speak directly to the deepest wound you carry tonight. You have been asking me for one specific thing for years, and you have prayed with everything inside you. You asked in the morning. You asked in the middle of the night, but the room just stayed completely quiet. You watched the heavy calendar turn. You watched other people receive the exact miracle you begged for. You stopped looking at the sky, and you decided to just survive. You drew a terrible conclusion from my extended silence. You concluded that I finally said no. You decided that my quietness was a clear rejection of your heart, and you thought you were simply not good enough to receive a yes, my beloved child. That is a massive lie. You did not imagine the silence. It was incredibly real. But silence is absolutely not the same thing as absence. I was not turning my back on your tears. Here is the profound truth you must understand today. The human heart cannot easily tell the difference between silence and refusal. So you fill the quiet with the absolute worst word you know. You call it rejection. But I want you to listen to what actually happens in a waiting season. Between the asking and the arriving, massive spiritual work is being done. And the heavy work is not on the water. The work is on the vessel. A beautiful gift arriving before your hands are ready is never a true mercy. It is a devastating loss with a gorgeous wrapping. I love you far too much to hand you something that will eventually crush your spirit. Some of what you asked for was being made ready behind the scenes. Some of it was being made much better than the tiny thing you originally named. This is the unfinished, yes. Now look back over the long years you called totally abandoned. You were not being ignored in them. You were being deeply formed in them. Ask yourself honestly what you can carry now that you could not carry before that painful waiting began. None of your current strength came from the instantly answered prayers. All of your incredible power came directly from the silence. Your capacity to hold massive blessings was expanding every single time you chose to stay in the quiet room. You thought that long silence was bitter rejection. The waiting was never empty of my divine presence. You simply could not see me working because I was gently rebuilding your own tired heart. You did not fail. You were faithfully hauling a heavy load up a very steep mountain. I am ending the painful argument today. I am not softening it. I am ending it. You call it a bitter delay. I call it the necessary season where I build what your calling will stand on. And what you build with me now will absolutely never collapse later. You are not late. You are not less. You are not the tragic exception to my perfect faithfulness. Every time you cried entirely alone, I saw it. Every time you chose to trust me in the absolute dark, I saw it. I saw every single tear. Not one was wasted. You are still here, and you are stronger than you have ever been in your entire life. Lift your head right now. Stop looking at the dry ground. Open your hands. Say it aloud with me. I am not late. I am exactly where I need to be. Now hear my warning before you go. There is a terrible cost to another year of the arrangement you have been living inside. It is not a cost anyone will invoice you for. It is paid quietly in the things you stop expecting. If you go back to measuring my love by your old calendar, you will walk right past the open door. You will step into the incoming flood without knowing how to safely float. I am standing between you and that tragic outcome right now. I am not moving an inch, but you must stay where my hand can reach you. Do not let the noise of the world steal this profound truth from your chest. I will not be saying this again in this specific way to you on a night like this one. You must make a firm choice today to drop the old heavy narrative. There is one more thing I have to tell you. It is the most important sentence of this entire message. It has a specific name. I call it the last word I kept. I have been holding it back on purpose because it would have meant absolutely nothing to you an hour ago. You will not receive it in the part of this that sounds like an ending. You will receive it after the blessing. What comes next is going to sound exactly like the end. My voice will slow down, and the words will get shorter. That is not the end, my child. That is the doorway. The last thing I kept is still firmly in my hands. Stay here. I am not asking you for anything else tonight, but I am telling you that the sentence I promised you is still owed to you. I do not leave a debt like that unpaid. Hear me clearly for one moment before the room goes completely soft. Everything from here will feel exactly like a gentle farewell. Farewells always make tired people set their phone down quickly. Do not set your phone down right now. If you leave right now, you walk away with only half the profound truth that I carefully prepared for your life. What I have kept back is not a simple summary of what I already said. It is the one powerful thing I have not said yet. You have lived inside a very small story for too many long years. I am telling you the absolute cost of staying there forever. The heavy cost is not money. It is paid quietly in the massive things you stop expecting when you lose your beautiful faith. If you go back to measuring my deep love by your old calendar, you will walk right past the open door. You will step into the incoming flood without knowing how to safely float above the rising water. I am standing firmly between you and that tragic outcome right now. I am not moving an inch from this protective spot, but you must stay where my strong hand can reach you. I am not warning you about a terrible enemy tonight. I am warning you about a deeply ingrained habit. Your constant habit of hiding is starving your beautiful spirit. The teaching is officially finished, my beloved child. What is left is strictly between the two of us. Let the heavy words rest peacefully in this quiet room now. I want to speak to you the way a loving father speaks to his child at the end of a long day. I am going to lower my voice for this last part, because this last part is not instruction. It is a holy blessing designed for your tired heart. Please put your heavy notebook down and just listen to me. This final part is not to be studied at all. It is only to be freely received by you. Come much closer than you usually let yourself come tonight. You do not come closer because I desperately need it. You come closer because you deeply need it, and you have spent a very long time arranging your life so that nobody could tell. There is absolutely nothing you have to carry out of this room tonight. You do not carry a heavy task or a difficult promise. You will not carry a massive plan you will feel guilty about by the weekend. You have spent so many years serving other people while your own spirit was slowly starving. You made sure everyone else had a warm seat at the table before you ever took the time to properly feed your own spirit. I saw the immense grace you showed to people who gave you absolutely nothing in return. That quiet sacrifice is over, and your season of rest has officially begun tonight. You only carry this beautiful truth into your tomorrow. You were completely seen all the way down to your weary bones. You were seen on a dark night when you had almost stopped expecting to be noticed. Because you waited when you had absolutely no physical evidence, I am moving you. I am moving you out of the cold room of waiting and bringing you directly into the warm room of receiving. You will no longer measure your profound worth by the temporary silence. You will walk confidently through the door that just opened for you. Now, I must give you the one thing I held back. I promised you the last word I kept hidden away. I held it back because it requires a completely quiet heart to hear it properly and understand its deep meaning. The impatient people who left early could not carry this. You stayed here through the very difficult truth. You did not run away when I named your secret pain. Here is the final beautiful piece I saved for you. The person standing in your future who you have not met yet is absolutely not coming to rescue you. They are not coming to save you from your difficult life. They are coming toward you because of exactly who you will have become by the time they finally arrive at your front door. That is the glorious reason I kept the door closed. I was protecting the beautiful version of you. You do not have to be completely healed to be a wonderful miracle for someone else. You only have to still be here and keep breathing. That is the final word I wanted to give you. Your very existence is profound evidence that my love never fails. Right now you are just someone who heard this profound truth, but in 30 seconds you can easily be someone who boldly said it. Those are two very different people standing in the world. I want you to be the bold messenger of hope for someone who is currently sitting in the dark and waiting for a sign. You have carried heavy burdens for other people your entire life without complaining once. Tonight, you are going to carry a beautiful promise to them instead of a heavy burden. This simple act of sharing will solidify the profound healing I just started inside your heart. The second person is much harder to defeat in the morning. I want you to take one small step of incredible obedience. There is someone you know who is about to give up, waiting. Their tired face just arrived in your mind right now. Send this exact message to them immediately. Proudly tell them the heavy door is finally opening for their life. Write one single sentence of your own before you send it. Tell them exactly why you thought of their beautiful heart. That one beautiful sentence you write will matter far more to their heart than everything I have said to you tonight. Type Amen and let this place know you stayed to the very end. I always read what my faithful children write below. Now go bravely into your beautiful new tomorrow. Do not rush this wonderful healing process anymore. Walk out of here like someone who finally belongs. I am with you in the quiet kitchen tonight. I am with you in the dark forever.